going down. It's going down, 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 down. It's going
Yeah, bitch, I'm a cow. Bitch, I'm a cow. I'm not a cat. I don't say meow. Bitch, I'm a cow. Bitch, I'm a cow. Bitch, I'm a cow. Bitch, I'm a cow. I go moo. Moo.
That's right, folks. And that chick should have won an Oscar compared to Brie Larson's performance of Captain Marvel.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, she's Doja Cat.
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't know what Doja Cat is, but I do know that, again, compared to Brie Larson, that is one talented woman there. You know, the bitch I'm a cow thing, very profound. Very profound.
She is talented.
You know, very intellectual. You know, and we are, of course, recruiting her for the Bleeding Edge staff. And that was actually her resume tape for us that she sent, just to let us know what she could do and whatnot. And Cyber, of course, and I saw that, and we're like, you know what? She's in. She's in. She fits right in. So, anyways, folks, we are living at a very weird time for us than normal. We don't usually live at 8 p.m., but we've decided that we just want to keep people on their toes and shit. And so on Sundays, we're just going to live at any random time. So at that point, if you're lucky enough to catch us, you'll catch us. In the meantime, as always, I am the humbled co-host of the MCU'S Bleeding Edge YouTube channel and podcast, Jeff S, a.k.a. TrueKnowledge. That's us right there. That's what we do. And my esteemed and respected veteran YouTuber co-host, Cyberneticshark, is here with me on the weekend for once. Not just on the Wednesday main show, getting after it. Sacrificing his private, you know, time and whatnot to jam with us and whatnot. Thank you for being here, Cyber.
Welcome.
It's good to be here with you as always, brother.
You know it.
Cyber is, without question, the best fucking co-host in history. Nobody can even touch him. Just to be clear. But anyways, that's why I'm going to make sure I'm going to keep his ass. We also, of course, have William Morgan, my good friend, fellow featured creator at the Minds Creativity Network that we're happy to be with, and the, of course, creator and host of the Geek Gauntlet podcast, along with Shaw and Renee and Kat, and they had a great show on Saturday night and whatnot. I caught all of it and whatnot. They did a great job, and Geek Gauntlet podcast is a good-ass show. And William, thank you for coming on here.
Thank you for having me, brother.
He's jumping on just to do the Avengers 10th anniversary segment we're going to start the show with. And then he's going to exit out peacefully and professionally. Justin Hurst, for the first time in the history of the Bleeding Edge, is here as a guest. He is a longtime Marvel comic book fan. He is a current collector. And he is a very quickly a new, really good friend of mine. And welcome very much, Justin, to the Bleeding Edge.
Thank you.
We're happy to have you, brother. And you know what, man? Whether it's your first time or your seventh, you'll still be better than Sally as a guest. So I'm just playing. I'm just playing. We love Sally the MCU girl. She's here. She's actually managed to show up for 2 shows within a week on the Bleeding Edge.
Really?
Or wait, a week and a half, I think.
2 weeks.
Which is a lot for her. So Sally, as always, we're always happy to have you on.
I didn't like Halo.
I know you didn't like Halo. I know. That's okay.
Don't judge me.
I'm not judging you because I'm there with you.
It's all okay.
Yay!
It's all right. It's all right. Hey, you know what? Halo is a love or hate kind of thing, I guess. At the end of the day, I'm starting to find out. That's okay.
texted my best friend, "Angry sex is a good way to a good cure for wanting to kill a man." And
Well,
that was fun for my boyfriend. So
we all have our opinions, and some of us like sci-fi and stuff more than others and all that, and so maybe Halo fits more for some people than others. But either way,
I didn't like sci-fi. I just said I didn't like Halo.
Either way, bottom line, we are here to actually talk Marvel, not Halo, and we are starting off with an opening segment that is going to be all about the fact that I guess it was about 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, I think. Or 3 weeks ago, we had the actual 10th anniversary of the first Avengers film that came out in 2012. And I have not had an opportunity to speak with Cyber or William or Sally. Not Sally, but William or Cyber or Justin about this. And I'll be honest with you, I think it's the kind of topic, it's a very broad topic and a very important topic where, truthfully, I almost would be happy to do a segment on this, 5 times if it meant that I could hear Lord Deathman's opinion and Renee's opinion and all that and whatnot, because I'd like to hear them. But it's important. It's very multi-layered. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of different directions you could go in terms of going about even just covering the topic. And so at that point, we're going to open up the show with a segment focusing on the 10th anniversary of the Avengers. Robotic organism, which is cool name. Avengers 10 years, damn. There you go, awesome, love it. Great comment, we appreciate you. And most definitely, without question, Sally, you were fucking me up in the private chat and distracting me.
I'm sorry.
So, but anyways, besides that point, it is extremely interesting for me gauging the significance of that first Avengers film across the span of all the different age groups that we deal with in the fandom with Marvel and MCU, because depending on who you talk to about, what the first Avengers film means to somebody, if they're 21 years old or 18 years old, or 26 years old compared to me, in their late 30s, near 40, or somebody 50 or 60, you're going to have different, different impressions on the film and what it meant to you. And so at that point, I feel like with this group that we have here, we should have pretty much a pretty, monolithic type of, viewpoint and attitude towards the film, I believe. With the exception of Sally, who's a little younger.
I'm 22.
Yeah. Which means that when the movie came out, you were what, 11 years old?
12.
Okay.
You ageist.
I'm not being an ageist, I'm just saying. So for you, maybe, you had to watch it at 12 and then maybe go back and watch it again at 18 just to get the full significance of it.
I watched it many times. Trust me.
So, whereas with me or Cyber or William, or Justin, when we saw it the first time, it was what it was. We were like, holy fuck. This is awesome. This is epic.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, so I guess...
Very young.
Well, just to start off and go around the panel real quick and whatnot, before I get into any questions or whatnot, or play any Avengers trailers or whatever, I should also probably let in whoever this is that's here for the show. Oh, guess who? Gunnar!
Hey guys.
Hi.
Gunnar, listen, brother, honestly, if you had just decided to just bail and send me a message on Facebook Messenger that just said, F you, Jeff, I would have understood.
Oh, that's all right, man. I always got time for you. It's just been a crazy couple weeks here. Sorry.
Well, you know what? I feel terrible every time I don't notice somebody down there at the bottom of the screen and they just end up.
I just hopped on a minute ago.
Okay. All right. Because I can't even imagine. If I was in that position, just lingering there, wondering what the fuck was going on, I'd be like, what the hell's the deal here? So anyways, before we get into any questions, before I play the trailers, I just want to go around and just get a general consensus from everybody, I guess, in terms of just what the Avengers film meant to you at the time that you first saw it. And also, just basically, if you could give me a quick idea or a quick description of what was your reaction internally seeing it that first time. What did it feel like for you? How impactful was it? I'll start with you, Gunnar. What did the Avengers mean to you the first time you saw it?
honestly, I think we shared this a couple weeks ago. I wasn't into the MCU when the Avengers came out. I'd seen the first two Iron Man films on Netflix mail away. They were mailed to me, and I watched them. That's how we did it back in the day. And Avengers came out. A friend wanted me to go. I had no interest, but I binge watched all the MCU films up to it, and I watched it. And honestly, I was underwhelmed. I really was. But not too long after, Captain America Winter Soldier came out, and Guardians of the Galaxy came out, and Ant-Man came out, and by that time I was hooked. But so yeah, when it came out, it meant nothing. Now, I mean, the Avengers is the MCU. That's what started. If the Avengers didn't work, then the MCU would look totally different. So, though it's not my favorite, it would probably be towards the bottom, honestly, of my favorite Marvel movies. What it did, its impact on the whole MCU was, I mean, without that, we don't get some of my favorite movies of all time. So, yeah.
Hey, you know what? I respect the hell out of that, Gunnar, because you know what? Right there, that is very emblematic of how awesome this fandom is at times. Because you know what? I don't agree with Gunnar at all that like the Avengers is like at the end of the line of as far as MCU films at all. I don't feel the same at all. I don't agree. But I'll say this. You know what? At the same time, he turned around and said, but over time, I grasped and understood the importance of the film to the MCU in general and what it meant.
I'll tell you what, the 17th, 18th best Marvel film is still one of the greatest.
Hey, look, either way, yeah. you balanced it out overall, right?
There's not been many duds in the MCU, and I don't consider the Avengers a dud of a film at all. I still watch it all the time. It's just, I think compared to, I mean, look at where we are now at the end of Phase 3 with Endgame and Infinity War, and I mean, looking back, I mean, yeah, is it as great as that? No, but we don't get there without the Avengers. It's that important to the history of cinema, I think. So
that's right, and without question, Captain Marvel and the Eternals were definitely better films than the Avengers. So,
you know what? I wouldn't.
What? No.
Not at all. There's like I said,
can't tell if you're being sarcastic.
Hey,
Gunnar, I'm just playing, man. I'm just joking, dude. It's all good, man. But no, it's all good. No, but Cyber, same question to you, sir. When the Avengers film came out and whatnot, did you see it in the theater? First of all, oh, you didn't. I didn't either. But what did it mean to you? How was it important to you? What did it mean to you personally? And what did you think of it when you first saw it?
Well, when Avengers came out, 10 years ago, I really knew very little of the MCU. I had seen, the previous films, most of them in theaters and stuff like that. I didn't really, read the comic books very much. I knew a little bit about them. I knew a little bit more about X-Men than I did about, the Avengers. But I mean, overall, when I finally did watch it, I thought it was just a fantastically done film. And I personally, on the level of some people thinking it was such a, it made such a huge difference for the comic book community. I'm not 100%. I wasn't at the same level as those comic book lovers were at that time. I definitely have better appreciation of it now versus then. But at the same time, I think at the time I was just like, oh, this is a really cool movie. I enjoyed it. I liked all the actors that were in it. And I thought it overall was just a really fun film. And that's where I stood with it at the time.
Okay. Was there at least any sense for you at all of it being groundbreaking?
No, not really, because I feel that, superhero films, even though they were still kind of in the infancy at that time, I mean, we still had the previous, few MCU films. Then we also had a slew of other, superhero films like the X-Men and the Fantastic Four that came out prior to this. So I don't think it was groundbreaking, but I definitely think it was something that was definitely ahead of its time, because it definitely paved the way for all the other Avenger films, especially that huge team up in Avengers Endgame when we got all those characters together. So definitely was the beginning stone to that.
Again, great point. Great point. It cannot be any clearer. And I think this is really, really important to always mention. Without the Avengers, the first Avengers film, you never get Endgame. You never get Infinity War. It doesn't happen. Yeah. Without Age of Ultron, you don't get Endgame. You know, people don't realize that sometimes. You know, things take time to build up.
Yeah, because then he wouldn't be like, fine, I'll do it myself.
You know, just like our current situation right now with the MCU and Phase 4 and whatnot and everything. Things take time, people. Got to be patient. You know, give Kevin Feige some time to work with things. But going to you, Justin, same question. What was the importance to you personally of the Avengers the first time you saw it? And what did it mean to you?
You know, I've actually thought about this a lot. It wasn't groundbreaking. That was Blade. You know, Blade in the 90s was the first Marvel movie that hit, you know.
Great point. Great point. Yep.
I have several questions.
Did you want to ask them now or?
No.
I was born in 2000, so that's why.
No, go ahead. Justin, that's a great point. Go ahead.
So it wasn't groundbreaking like Blade was, but for comic book fans who had spent years with crossovers, you know, the huge crossover, you know, Marvel's doing it again with the Hulk and Thor. There was a big crossover between them that brought a whole bunch of people back to comics. You know, you grow up with those epic storytelling moments, like the Secret Invasion, Civil War, and you never see it on the screen, you know, or you hadn't up until the Avengers. And I think that it was very important for both the cinema community and for the comic book community to see that we can create a universe. You know, it's not just cartoons and, you know, kids stuff. There are plenty of people ready to hand their money over to see epic storytelling like they did with Avengers. Anyway, it was great. Went to go see it in the theater. All of my childhood, you know, nostalgia came back. It was great seeing them all on this screen together. You know, it was great.
And you know what, Justin? I really appreciate what you said, because you know what? I'm moderating this segment, and I'm not really going to say much here, but you basically covered what my feelings were. So thank you for expressing that for both of us. You know, so William, you're next, and then Sally, if you want to round things out.
Mine isn't that deep.
I think the movie was important because it highlighted a lot of characters you might not have heard of before in the Marvel Universe. A lot of people might not have known who Scarlett Johansson or Black Widow was. Might not know who she was, what her history was, or things of that nature. Might not really have been in the Thor like that. Might not have been in the Iron Man like, because for the most part in the comics, Iron Man and Black Widow are secondary characters. So this movie helped bring them to the forefront and really show you what they can do, and turn that interest by looking into them into looking into other Marvel characters that you see later on. And of course, without that, we don't get Thanos. And I think another thing too, Avengers does, it pretty much set the stage for superhero movies after them. And it's gonna probably be, not saying that it's gonna be a trend center per se, but it at least showed other companies how to do a superhero movie properly. So I loved it. I'm gonna go back, watch it tonight, probably watch all of them tonight, because man, Jeff called me about it, said, hey, we got this going on. Oh, I didn't know. Let me go back and watch it again. But I think it was really important, all the secondary characters, for strengthening the Hulk, because we all know Thor, we all know Hulk, we all know what they can do. the Iron Man's of the world secondary character, Black Widow secondary character, Nick Fury a little bit more to the forefront. Captain Marvel came into play, Black Panther came into play. So yeah, definitely. I think it was important that that movie was very, very important.
Nick Fury and Shield had a massive impact on the film. They did. They had a massive imprint. Really, they did. And they were a fundamental part of the film and part of what made it what it was. But I feel like coming off of what everyone's kind of saying, I think everyone's kind of getting around the point that this was a complete film. Yep. Whereas, like, maybe some of the other superhero films that had already been done, like Cyber mentioned already, maybe were lacking in certain areas or whatever, in some aspects, in certain ways, were not complete or full, or could have, weren't bad, or like weren't bad movies or bad films, just maybe didn't have a certain chemistry level or whatever, whatever.
It was lightning in a bottle. It was lightning in a bottle because that cast and crew. Yeah, they got along. They had really, really good chemistry. Got along really, really well, and that translates. Into what you see on screen, and that cast was perfect together.
And that goes to Sarah Finn. You know what I'm saying? Because Sarah Finn cast those characters, right? And again,
Sarah Finn is a badass.
Honestly, I'm not trying to hate on the X-Men films at all. They were great films for when they came out and everything and whatnot, and they were trendsetters. Like they laid the groundwork for the Avengers. They did. They were stepping stones.
And they were produced by Kevin Feige also.
But I do think that there were casting decisions they made and whatnot, and things they did with the stories, with some of those X-Men films that could have been done a little differently.
I just felt the X-Men films they were good, but I just felt they were incomplete. Whereas the Avengers film got everything right and it was completed, and it showed you the right way to do a movie of that ilk.
But again, all proper respect needs to be given to the X-Men movies, to the Fantastic Four films, certainly to Blade, without question. Wesley Snipes deserves a lot of credit.
That was a good mention on Blade. Justin, that was a good mention on Blade, bro. That's a good mention on Blade.
Yeah, I mean, hey, William, I mentioned this last night during your show in the comment section that Wesley Snipes deserves a lot of credit.
Yep.
He does.
He does.
But go ahead, Sally. What are your thoughts on what the movie meant to you?
The reason I thought I was bisexual for 10 years, the reason I Scarlett Johansson being tied up.
Ain't no wrong with that.
So real of me.
Ain't no wrong with that.
And
I ain't hating on you, girl.
Affected.
I ain't hating on.
Fuck you, Steve from Bumble. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Brought to you by Manscaped.
Lawnmower 3.0.
Lawnmower 3.0.
It's the perfect hit for us. Hey, Lawnmower, reach out to the bleeding edge, baby. We're the right people to promote your product.
Yeah.
I am about to pop along. If you guys don't stop right now.
And I am an active manscaper here, so this is a real deal.
We know.
I do have a question though. What? And I'll wait till Sally gets done.
Is it a manscaping question or
no?
Oh.
No.
So I watched
say,
it on my aunt's living room
floor.
Tutorial
or something, I can do a private thing for you or whatever. Go ahead, Sally. I'm sorry.
Stop making me like you. Okay. Okay. I watched it on my aunt, who I haven't spoken to in about 8 years. I watched it on her living room floor with my cousins, who I also haven't spoken to in 8 years. And that was the last thing that was what I credit as the last good thing they ever did for me. Showed me the Avengers. Because then I gained confidence in writing, because Stephen Peggy fanfiction doesn't write itself. The ending of the first Avenger doesn't fix itself.
Nope.
And
sure, but don't.
But So it brought me confidence. It made a lot of friends. Exhibit A on my left. Hi, Jeff.
Who, me?
Yeah, you're Exhibit A of the friends I've made.
I'm just playing. You're a good friend, Sally.
And,
I don't know what is so damn funny, but
That's what I'm trying to figure out, cool.
I'm
do I have some shit on my face? I mean,
no, just weird.
At least it's laughter, though. At least it's laughter.
It's true.
Normally Jeff's making him cry. So
She's not crying. She's not crying.
I'm
She's
crying of
laughing.
laughter. I'm crying from
win.
laughter.
That's a win. That's a win, my friend. That's a win.
Oh my god. I would normally say what happens in that living room stays in that living room, but thank you, Aunt Debbie, for showing me the Avengers.
there you go. Perfect. That's what
I
we
do
like
have
to
a
hear.
question. I don't think, and guys, please correct me.
Okay.
We don't get Loki series if we don't have this, do we?
oh, absolutely not.
No,
Probably
no.
not.
Yeah.
No.
And I love that Loki series.
yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
I haven't seen all of it.
And Loki set a tone for what a villain needed to be,
Mhm.
how a villain could work. In
He
a
was
Marvel
so
film.
charismatic.
Yep.
Yeah, and if anything, I really honestly feel like, and you guys can feel free to jump in if you have anything to add to this. I really do feel like Tom Hiddleston Loki, just because so much time has passed, I feel like people have just undervalued or forgotten the fact that he was absolutely, without question, an outstanding villain.
Oh,
in
yeah.
that film.
Oh, of
Yeah.
course.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, he stole
Outstanding
this
villain
held his own.
with an even better redemption arc.
Gunnar, go ahead. Gunnar, go first.
I mean, with that cast, you know how many Academy Awards are and at least nominations among those? That
Mhm.
cast,
Yeah.
Mhm.
not only did a relatively unknown actor hold his own, he stole that movie from all of them.
He probably, if anybody deserved
Yeah.
an actual award, it probably would have been him.
And those scenes that he had with Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, and CGI Hulk were just amazing. Amazing. He was great actor. And we don't get the series without that movie.
Cyber, what do you think about Tom Hiddleston's Loki as a villain in the film?
Oh, I mean, he was fantastic. I remember being very drawn to the film because of him. I mean, I loved him in the first Thor. I thought he was a perfect character. I thought Tom did a great job of bringing Loki to life, giving us our first kind of like iteration of an MCU version of Loki. Because, I mean, we've seen Lokis and other things over the years and stuff like that. But this was the MCU's version. And so I think that he portrayed the MCU version of Loki very sophisticatedly. I thought he had a cleverness to him. I thought that everything he presented as the character was exactly what Loki is in the comics. And I think that he did such a great job. And I wanted more of Tom Hiddleston, in further films after seeing Avengers for the first time. And so I was very thrilled when we got him in Dark World. We got him, in, further films and stuff like that. And then he got his own series. And I can't wait to see him in season 2 of Loki because it's going to be fantastic because he did such a great job in the first season. So, yeah.
And
he was a fantastic villain, yes.
And Cyber, William, was Loki not legitimately, authentically sort of scary at times in the film, like with his evilness and whatnot and everything, and like his, his fierceness at times, he was authentic.
he definitely made he gave you that vibe that he could do creepy.
He was a bad dude.
Yeah.
He was a bad dude. He was a bad dude. But Tom really made that character his own. And I thought that was very, very impressive on his part. But yeah, he made Loki a badass. He really did.
What do you think, Justin? You have any thoughts?
You know what? He stayed really true to the comic book Loki. And in my opinion, I know that's controversial, but he stayed so close to that it was so much fun to watch on screen. you know,
Yes.
because your childhood is like jumping at you. Especially that one thing. I'm sorry about turning you into a frog when they're, you know, that interaction. Just those Easter eggs, those nods to the comics. You know, they did such a good job with him, with his character, with writing the character, that I think he had a lot to work with.
And
But
again,
yeah, I think he's fantastic.
and like I say, that cast, you very rarely have a cast like that that's that accomplished and that doesn't have egos that get in the way. And you didn't see, I've heard nothing over the years of any type of infighting between the cast. I've heard of nothing like that between the cast. Everybody gets along.
Brie Larson.
Yeah, well, I ain't talking about her.
When it comes to the original Avengers, Liam,
yeah,
they all fell into place and
Yeah.
found and figured out their place together as a
Mhm.
group, and who was who was the top dog, who, you know, all that. They worked it all out, and it worked.
and
Yeah.
it just worked to, and you very rarely get that. Very rarely get that.
And when they made their mistakes, like Terrence Howard, they fixed it way better
fixed
than
that
it ever
quick.
could have been.
They fixed that quick too.
That's Sarah Finn again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
nothing
I
against
have a
against
question,
Terrence
and
Howard.
It's gonna sound stupid as fuck. Who's Terrence Howard?
He played Rhodey in the
The
first
first
Iron
James,
Man.
the first James Rhodes.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
But Don
That
Cheadle's
was a
so
miss.
good, you don't even remember that.
You don't. You
Yeah,
don't.
No,
that's
and-
very true.
No, and Howard wasn't bad as Rhodey either.
No, not at all.
Mm-mm.
Cheadle's perfect.
Yeah.
You know what people forget that someone I love very recently pointed out to me? If Tony Stark wasn't friends with Rhodey, he would be dead
Yes.
long before Endgame.
That might be a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
Because they thought he was like a bogey, where my mind goes straight to Harry Potter when I say that.
You good? You good? Take your time.
Well, I'll tell
And,
you,
If he wasn't a dead,
they
he'd
would have
be
shot him
jail.
down.
Dead or in jail? One of the two.
it
One of
makes
the
you
two.
wonder.
Down.
It
One of
makes
the
you
two.
wonder if
He's a rich white man.
possibly-
He would not be in jail.
It makes you wonder if possibly
he
when
would've been in
Sarah
jail.
Finn, when she cast Howard in that role, he was really on top of things because of the show he was doing there. Like he was really popular.
He was nominated for an Oscar right before
He
that.
was
Right
cited
before
for
that,
popularity.
right before that, he
Yeah,
was. Yeah.
Absolutely.
He was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on top of things, man. Yes.
So, you know, like I can see why they would have went in that direction. You know, God bless you.
This is my lung popping. I'm good.
But at the end of the day, though, realistically, you know, like you guys already said, the guy we ended up being Rhodey is a better actor overall. He is.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don is. Yeah. Don.
And
Cheadle.
I-
Don Cheadle was perfect casting.
I feel like the main reason Howard was gone, Cheadle I think has done a way better job, but I think Howard tried flexing. He knew how
was
big
money.
this was, and he thought he was bigger than the project.
And I
Yeah.
think
And
also
none of these
too.
guys are bigger than the
But it was
project.
hot
And I
shot.
think also too, Howard and Robert Downey Jr. had an issue with each other. I think that was the only tip on the cast that I heard about. That those two guys had issues with one another,
Well,
and
Did they?
It
Well,
was
did-
because of
well-
RD. It was because of RDJ. That eventually ended up being let go, from what I heard.
Well, didn't Howard want the exact same money as RDJ?
Mm-hmm.
What the hell?
Yeah.
There
But
was
it- but
this kid when I was in high school who tried his damnedest to convince me that Haley Atwell and Chris Evans hate each other in real life. He tried so hard to convince me of that, and no.
Okay. So how does it even make any sense? Like, I'm sorry, but I think that Howard's delusional to think for 1 second that Rhodey's a secondary character. In the
Right.
comics, in general, that's who he is. Why
Mm-hmm.
the hell would you get paid the same amount of money as RDJ?
You know,
You
make no
wouldn't.
sense.
Yeah,
Wouldn't.
you-
It makes
you
no
At the
wouldn't.
sense.
time, he was a bigger actor than RDJ. Like I said, he just came off
Yeah.
Hustle and Flow,
Wait,
nominated
There
for
are
an
bigger
Oscar.
actors than Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine.
He
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
But you got to take it in context. I mean, you can't take an iconic character like Iron Man and make War Machine the star.
Yeah,
That's just ridiculous.
He
Or e-
didn't.
or even-
he
or
wasn't
even-
even War Machine yet.
No, or even like at the same level, because like
Right.
again, he's a secondary character.
Yeah.
You know, he's almost
Right.
like a sidekick or like a best friend. You know, so either way, and then of course with Edward Norton, it's interesting. You know, me and Cyber talked about this the other day. This whole premise of what would have happened if we actually would have had Edward Norton play Hulk all the way through, and we never would have got Mark Ruffalo. How would it have affected the Avengers? How would it have all went down? Edward Norton, of course, was pissed off because he rewrote the script of that Hulk film that he did himself, and they didn't give him credit for it. Essentially, right? Am I correct, Cyber?
That is fucked up.
Yes. He wanted credit for the screenwriting and everything and whatnot. And that was what pissed him off. And hey, whatever, you know, Edward Norton, you missed out on a lot of freaking money, bro.
You know what, though? Again, it goes back to being bigger than the project. And I think Ed Norton, it was an Ed Norton film. It wasn't the Hulk. And I think that's the difference between him and Mark Ruffalo. Where Mark Ruffalo, I feel like, embraces the bigger MCU vision, where I don't necessarily think Edward Norton did.
Well, I never thought about it like this, but maybe Edward Norton did not have the heart in it for the Avengers at all. Maybe he didn't
I
care,
don't think he did.
You know?
Well,
He wouldn't.
And at the end of the day, you said it right. You said it right. There's nothing bigger than a project. Plus, you also have to be, as a person, you have to not be prideful and have an ego when it comes to stuff like this. And because he was so prideful and had that ego, he missed out on a bunch of money. He missed out on a bunch of other projects because of that. And you can't be that way.
Well, hey, that shit must have really, really been upsetting for him, because I mean, to literally have that be the problem and the reason that you did not do the Avengers film, and that you pulled out of that whole situation, I just feel like, personally, from a common sense standpoint, it would have made more sense to just chill,
right,
and maybe let things go,
right,
and ride things out, because you know you had some really, really epic shit coming down the road that you were going to be a part of. So
My
hey, you know
computer's
what?
gonna die.
But if you can't keep your mouth shut, I mean, seriously,
that's what I'm saying. You
keep
can't
your mouth shut.
You
long
can't
enough.
have it. You can't have an ego. You can't have an ego. You have to be humble. And he had an ego, not being humble. There you go. You bigger than the project, like we said earlier.
And William, imagine about this. Imagine how it could have affected the rest of the team and the rest of the actors and actresses and whatnot if it came out that Norton really wasn't cared about the Avengers. Didn't give a shit at all. You know, like what would that? How would that have affected the production?
Messed up chemistry.
Here's another thing, though. At the time, Ed Norton's the biggest star out of all those. All those guys are relatively unknowns. I mean, yeah, Chris Evans did a bunch of stuff. I mean, we don't like to talk about Fantastic Four, but none of them were movie stars. Edward Norton is a movie star. Terrence Howard is a movie star. RDJ is working on a comeback to being, he was a movie star. He almost ruined his life. You know, Favreau wanted him. Studio wanted the guy that played Hammer.
Yeah.
They wanted, and my mind's gone blank. They wanted him, but Favreau stood up and said, no, Robert Downey Jr. I'll put everything on the line on him, and it worked. So
they wanted Tom Cruise, didn't they?
Nah, that was
my fucking god,
Superior. That was Superior Iron
Yeah,
Man.
that was a lot. That was like years before Favreau got up.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't think Ed Norton would have worked. I don't. And Ed Norton, there's a time in my life, he was my favorite actor in the world. But I don't think he would have worked. I mean, being the biggest name in all of the Avengers, how would he have dealt with the fact, oh, by the way, we're not giving you any more films. You're just going to be in other people's films. I don't think that would have sat well with him. And that's why another reason why I think it didn't work out for him. And again, Mark Ruffalo is so perfect. I can't imagine anyone else in that role.
Yeah.
Right.
Neither can I.
No.
It was a lot like Robert Downey Jr.
It was not good. It was not a good movie.
Justin, go ahead.
No, so when they hired Robert Downey Jr. to do Tony Stark, a lot of us comic book fans got really excited because Robert Downey Jr.'s story plays out a lot like
Tony
Tony
Stark's
Stark's.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was, we were excited about that, making Iron Man relatable, as a relatable character instead of just some dumb punch everything in the face, superhero movie.
Oh God.
So yeah, we were excited, and the same thing with Mark Ruffalo. Edward Norton would have ruined everything. They would have ended up firing him anyway.
Or just written the Hulk out of it, I think, which
I
is
don't know,
probably
you know
worse
what?
than firing him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they couldn't
yeah.
have done that.
You guys could
I
be
mean,
right. You guys could totally be right. But I, for some reason, have this like small inkling of an idea that it's a possibility that there, in some way, that Edward Norton could have made it. They could have made it work with him. They could have.
Okay.
How?
I feel that they could have.
They would have had to have made more Hulk movies, and that would have blown continuity.
That
Yeah.
would have just made everything worse.
Well, that's actually a part of the premise that me and Cyber were discussing the other night, which was based off of the idea of what if Marvel Studios would have had the film rights to the Hulk back in 26, right? And back then, they could have went ahead and offered Norton a trilogy, okay, with the Avengers and everything and whatnot, and signed him up to a long-term contract, okay? Right?
Yeah, but you would have still had to do the World
Hulk. They
Thank you.
can't do that. They
Which-
won't be. I don't think they'll be able to do that story justice, man. I really
No,
don't think they would
no.
be.
And
I
go
don't
ahead.
think.
It's interesting
Sorry.
to wonder what would they, if that had happened, hypothetically, what we would have gotten with 2 other Hulk films. It is interesting.
yeah, I just like the Thor movies. I like how immersive
I'm
The-
concerned.
those movies are.
I'm concerned for this newest one, but
Well,
Why?
Thor 2
Same.
sucks. Thor 2 is terrible.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's bad.
Well, the first 2 Thor movies were building character, which
They were. Yeah, I
He
should.
just gets
I
more
don't
and
wanna-
more like a human, like a person,
I don't
not
want
like
to
a
sound
god.
negative. The Thor 2 movie's watchable. I've watched it and it's enjoyable. It's just a little erratic at times, I guess. And
It's a type of movie. If you're going down the timeline to
Fuck.
get caught up, you would watch it just to get to that point.
the villain was pathetic.
But you're not watching it just to. Ooh, it's a great movie. But you'll watch it to get you through that timeline.
My laptop's gonna die. Yay.
What happened, Sally?
My laptop is probably gonna die in like the next 15-20 minutes.
Plug that sucker in.
I would,
Plug that sucker in.
but my basement is 2 floors down.
Oh wow.
Well, Sally,
What?
we'll figure it out when we get to that point. But
Yeah.
Okay.
in the meantime, no, but I will say that honestly, it would have been interesting. You never know what would have happened potentially and whatnot. But overall, I feel like what I want to ask you guys next would be, I guess, something that I think is very integral to me. Coming off of the Avengers, what does the original 6 mean to you? What do the original 6 Avengers mean to you? And what was it like for you? And what is it like for you now when you go to watch the film again, like William's going to tonight and whatnot and everything? Watching that chemistry develop for the first time on screen and everything and whatnot, right? After then seeing, Age of Ultron, Infinity War, Endgame, and how far things went and how far they grew and the chemistry grew and the relationships, were strengthened, and all that. Starting with you, Cyber, where are you at? How do you feel about the original 6 Avengers at this point? In terms of the Avengers, and what's it like for you to see that initial chemistry built?
I mean, it definitely was a tight-knit crew. They all worked really well together, and I think they really brought together that first lineup of those superheroes. Overall, I think that they did a great job of giving us these characters, giving us these these visions of what we new from the comics. For those that are huge comic fans, I'm sure a lot of people had their gripes about certain things because they did make them different from some things in the comics and so forth and stuff like that. So, and like I mentioned before, I wasn't really huge into reading the comics before I saw that film, so I really didn't have anything to go by. So what I saw in my mind was a really great ensemble of actors that created these great characters. And to me now, I look back at it and I still think it was a great, cast. I think they all have improved their characters as time has gone on. I think each character has built a really great and amazing, pieces of work as the time has gone on since the Avengers. So I think all 6 of them were great, great actors, great characters, and all that. And their impact on me wasn't anything huge, but at the same time, I really enjoyed them, and I thought they did a good job of giving me something entertaining.
Okay, most definitely. Sally?
Well, now I have to watch every single thing with Chris Evans in it as a rule. I have to consume all Chris Evans. So you guys know how I feel about Captain America. Gonna be completely honest here. Robert Downey Jr. was basically playing himself, and that's not a bad thing.
What the hell is that?
Sorry, hold on.
Oh, okay.
Scarlett Johansson, like I said, made me feel things at age 12. I don't know if we're counting Tom Hiddleston as the original 6, but he was just the perfect level of charismatic and creepy. He was the perfect balance. Everybody else was kind of mad to me at the time, but that just solidifies how important they were in the future.
Excellent. And I just want to be clear here, Sally. We are a family-orientated program over here on the Bleeding Edge, and you are really messing me up and making me feel awkward with your sexual innuendos and everything and whatnot. I mean, seriously.
What?
What do you think we're doing over here?
What
do you think we're doing over here on the Bleeding Edge?
What?
Since when? In what world? Is this what if?
That's brought to you by Manscaped.
Is the watcher gonna pop out?
Yeah,
at me?
we're gonna do a what if version episode of the Bleeding Edge where we're gonna pretend that like we're PG-13 for a show.
Oh fuck! My laptop's at 9%.
Hey, it's all good. 9% is better than 7. Gunnar. Ooh. Is everything cool there?
Oh, everything good?
Yeah,
everything good, guys?
Yeah, we're okay.
Everybody here?
Yep.
Okay. There was like a spike there for a minute.
Sally, you here? Justin, you here?
Justin? We can't hear you, Justin.
You're like you're on mute.
You may need to go out and come back in.
Yeah, you may need to go out the room and come on back in.
Like we talked about earlier. Sally, you there?
Sally.
You scared her away.
Her laptop might have died.
Yeah, it might have.
It might have died.
Then how is she still there then?
It might take a minute for the feed to catch up.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. It might take a minute for the feed to catch up. I'll go real quick.
Go ahead, Will. Go ahead, Liam.
As actors, fantastic. As characters, good. As of then. Now, actors, even better. Characters, still good. I'm not gonna sit here and say they're life-changing characters by any means, but they did establish that good baseline for what you think movie heroes should be. And again, the cast is fantastic. They established that's what it was. and the cast was fantastic. The characters were good. Again, not earth shaking, but they established that baseline of what a superhero team should be, what a superhero team should look like and work. They set the example, and that's the thing that they need to be revered about. And hopefully, other movies, i.e., Justice League, get it together, can follow that same trend and get better.
Gunnar.
Yeah, I mean the original 6 are great. I mean they set the stage for what this universe has become. And you know what? They started on a very grounded level, with the exception of Thor. Kind of came in from outer space, but he was kind of the bridge that brought us. You know, the first phase to me has always been kind of that earthbound, and then we got Thor and Guardians, and we started going into space, and now we're worrying about we got the whole time thing going on. So but that original 6, I mean, if they didn't work, again, I don't think this universe works. But they all seem to embrace their characters, and they seem to embrace their roles in this universe, which is more important than embracing their characters. It's embracing your role. Again, especially after the Avengers made all these guys the biggest names in Hollywood, you know, they could have easily, you know, tried to pull a Terrence Howard or try to, you know, take advantage of this. But again, they knew their role, they knew their place. And look, that Marvel bench is deep. I mean, right now, I think, again, if something doesn't work, you know, if the Eternals didn't work, I think there would be no qualms if Feige said, you know what, we're done with them. We're never going to see them again. Or if he decided, you know what, we're never going to see Shang-Chi again. You know, I think we could still have a great MCU, a great universe without them. These 6, I think, legitimized this universe as a universe, unlike the other ones. Like, look at the X-Men. The X-Men was those timelines, that continuity is just a joke. And I think because these 6 characters stuck through until the end of Endgame, and the ones that are still around, you know, without them being the backbone and just staying true to what their role is, because of that, the universe that we have now, the fact that we have a Disney Plus show going on right now, and we just wrapped a Disney Plus show a couple weeks ago right now. And you know what? We got 5 or 6 more on the docket, and that's before, you know, a Thor movie in a couple weeks. You know, I mean, this universe, I mean, look, there was a year gap between some of those movies.
Yep.
And now there's weeks of time between these projects now. And again, it's all based on the backbone of these 6 actors embracing their role in creating this universe.
I just don't think MCU works with just X-Men or Fantastic Four. I think this is I just don't think it doesn't work. These guys set that stage and set the example. Like I said, hopefully DC gets it together. Look at this, see what they've set up, see what they've done, to see what the fandom has been, because this fandom is deep. This fandom runs deep on the Marvel side. My goodness.
Clearly, DC needed the Brie Larson.
Yeah. but they need to see, because this fan base, the one thing when I started doing Gauntlet, I always said it was a 50-50 split between the fandom. Nope, it's not a 50-50 split. This fandom for Marvel is incredible, and hopefully DC can pick up on that, see it, and adjust to make their movies just as good.
Justin, did I give you a chance to get in on the importance of the original 6 Avengers?
He was about to before he had to go.
No, yeah, sorry. You know, I always have to go back to growing up reading about these characters. And it's been something that I've collected my entire life. You know, it's something I've always gone back to. That it's like macaroni and cheese or whatever your comfort food is. But seeing them on the screen together for the first time was mind blowing. You know, it was something that I always dreamed of, and you know, Disney did such a good job of facilitating that for the fans. They did. kept a cast that worked together, that knew their roles, that actually spent time with fans, you know, it made it work. It made it incredible for a lot of people. And I'm just appreciative to Disney that they did it the way they did, and they persevered through some of the garbage that they had at first. And I hope Sony gets their shit together, you know, and stops all this back and forth with Disney about, you know, characters and where they're supposed to be and who owns what. It shouldn't be about what studio owns what. It should be about the fans at this point.
Exactly. And that's a whole nother show, unfortunately.
And the backup Sally, who's not here, yes, it did give us Scarlett Johansson's greatest role.
So real quick, guys, I'm going to go ahead and play the trailers for the Avengers, and then we're just going to do one final round of discussion based off the trailers. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to let William go so he can go about, you know, doing his thing with his family and his kids. And we're going to go ahead and jump into our MCU news section and segment of the show. So please enjoy the hell out of the original Avengers trailers. I certainly love them.
You were made to be ruled. In the end, it'll be every man for himself. What do we do?
We get ready. There was an idea to bring together a group of remarkable people. So when we needed them, they could fight the battles that we never could. Gentlemen, what are you prepared to do?
No offense, but I don't play well with others.
Big man in a suit of armor. Take that away, what are you?
Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist. If we can't protect the Earth, you can be damn sure we'll avenge it. Dr. Banner, your work is unparalleled, and I'm a huge fan of the way you lose control and turn into an enormous green rage monster.
Thanks.
War has started. And we are hopelessly outgunned.
Director Fury, I think it's time. You here with the mission, sir? Trying to get me back in the world?
Trying to save it.
Doctor, I need you to come in.
What if I say no?
I'll persuade you.
What are you asking me to do?
It's called the Avengers Initiative.
I thought I didn't qualify. Apparently I'm, what is it, volatile, self-obsessed, and don't play well with others. I think they need a timeout.
How desperate are you?
lost creatures to defend you.
You have made me very desperate.
We're not a team. We're a time bomb.
This is nothing we were ever trained for.
Guys, I'm bringing the party to you.
Okay, right off the bat, that friggin' scene where they do that circle shot around all of them, the Avengers, is awesome. It's just epic, epic.
It's
Oh,
iconic.
It is
never stops
iconic.
being
Yep.
awesome.
Yep.
And then the Iron Man, I'm bringing the party to you deal, where he brings that fucking monster around the corner and everything and whatnot, is awesome. It is legitimately friggin' just like dope as hell.
If I could be an
care,
Avenger,
man.
if I could be an Avenger to be Iron Man.
I don't care what year it is. I don't care what
Easy.
phase it is.
Iron Man.
I don't care what
Easy.
Avenger movie it is. I don't care any of it. That
Iron
right
Man,
there,
damn it.
that scene is great no
Iron
matter what
Man.
in any film. It's awesome.
I'm Iron Man, damn it.
So basically, guys, what I wanted to ask you is, so look, I actually was talking to Sally, the MCU girl, earlier today about the fact that, with like the Avengers Endgame trailers, for instance, right? They did a really, really great job of giving you a vibe in the trailers that was very emblematic of the exact same vibe that you got from the film. Okay? Now, with these trailers for the Avengers film, watching them now, watching them back then, do you feel like they did a good job of connecting to what we got out of the film itself through those trailers? Starting with you, William.
Yeah. Yeah, but because of the moments. The moments in those trailers really made you want to go and watch the movie. Number one. Number two, get you hyped up for what you were doing in the comics. The only thing that makes me mad about the whole Avengers franchise as a whole, because as a whole, the franchise is fantastic, it's great. It just hadn't translated video game wise, but in terms of movies, in terms of comics, it's fantastic. The trailers gave you that want to go see the movie. And the trailers were fantastic. And like you said earlier, when you saw him bring that ship around, Iron Man bring that ship around, that made me want to see that movie.
Yeah.
Because I had to find out what the hell was going on. So in order to see that, so it made me want to go see the movie.
Yep. Hats off to whoever the hell was responsible for designing the Shatari and like their whole deal and everything and whatnot. Because, versus some other, movies we've seen recently in the last couple of years and whatnot that have tried to like have aliens in them that ended up being stupid looking or whatever, or
And that was good for 10 years ago.
Like in the Eternals, like the deviants were just like whatever, so the Jatari were really cool to see, and those freaking flying deals there were cool.
Can I say one more? Can I say one more thing real quick?
Oh, of course you can, William. You kidding me? Go ahead.
That Battle of New York is so important in the MCU because it's still being talked about today in others, not just amongst fans, but in other storylines too.
And we got to keep it alive.
Shown like we're taken back there, Hawkeye. We were taken back there,
and we got to keep it alive. It's important to keep it alive. The fans,
so important.
Marvel, we got to keep it alive.
Yeah.
I feel like, you guys tell me, I don't want to go into a tangent on this, but I feel like some of us, maybe older fans, well, this movie maybe did mean more to us than some of the younger fans. It's our responsibility in a way to try to make sure that we keep that spirit going and whatnot, and make sure people understand the importance of the film, and whatnot. But Justin, going to you, with the trailers and whatnot and everything, like I asked William, what are your thoughts?
So I totally forgot about them using 9 Inch Nails for that
Yeah,
trailer.
boy.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
And when I heard that first beat, I was like, oh my God, I remember why I watched this movie. I remember why I gave it a chance. You know, more than just wanting to see the characters, you know, not as a fan, not wanting to be let down was a huge concern for the Avenger movies. You know, especially a fan of Marvel Comics, period. But when they used Nine Inch Nails for that trailer, it showed me that they were going to go for a depth that they hadn't gone to before. And you know, going and seeing the movie, them using Soundgarden and Nine Inch Nails, it made it feel epic, you know, going in. And I don't know, it just made me excited to see the films again, I guess.
Yeah, and if they would have had Bandmate in there, oh man, that would have been a game changer, man. I'm telling you.
Oh man, think of Cyber. Here we go. Cyber, you stupid man.
That's one of the coolest parts that I'm loving about the whole fact that Cyber's actually able to come on here with me more, like on the weekends and stuff and whatnot, because Cyber is just like he's like my co-host slash like therapist slash like father figure slash like brother, blood brother slash like best friend, like, you know, and everything, all wrapped up into one. And like my worst critic too. So like
I gotta get Cyber's hat. I gotta get that hat, Cyber.
Cyber
just sounds like I'm really huge.
Cyber is very kind. Cyber's a very kind guy. He's
You're
very
very
nice.
important, sir.
He's very caring. He doesn't want to hurt my feelings and whatnot. So instead of like really ripping on me, he just like makes certain facial expressions sometimes during the show to let you know what he thinks about my shit.
Hey, I gotta get the hat though, for real, Cyber. Where'd you get it from?
My wife bought it for me, actually.
Cool. I gotta find it. I'm looking for it on Amazon.
I'll have to ask her and I can tell you.
Okay.
That's right. Yep, that's right. I've been buying hats left and right just to try to catch up with Cyber. and I still can't catch him. You know?
I only have the one Marvel hat though.
Hey, I'll make sure we change that shit up soon. All right, I got you, brother. Don't worry about that. You will have more than one Marvel hat soon, my friend.
Yes.
If you deserve anything,
William, I like your hat, sir. I love the.
Thank
spider.
you. Thank you. This is Miles Morales' hat.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Black with the blue. Yep.
And I love this X-Men hat just because I just think it's awesome to have the original X-Men colors in general. It's awesome. You know,
it is the original.
Well, they're bringing back the 90s X-Men cartoon on Disney.
That's right.
So, yeah, you're back in style.
Who's excited? Who's gonna like jump right in and start watching the animated series when it comes out?
Oh,
Me?
God, yeah.
Yes,
we all
yes,
are.
Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
How awesome was it in Multiverse of Madness when they started playing that?
And they're legit gonna actually have the show pick right up from where it left off in the 90s.
I don't know. I don't know about that part.
I didn't hear about that yet. I hope they do though.
Cyber? Wasn't that the premise? Isn't that what they were gonna do?
I hope they do.
They were gonna continue the storyline from the 90s show.
Correct. It's supposed to be literally supposed to be a sequel series, but at the same time, it's supposed to be a continuation of that original series they did, and to expand on that. Supposedly.
So that means you can get Sinister back.
That's right. Rogue is actually a good character.
Rogue's a good character.
Rogue, actual real deal Rogue. That's actually halfway like a good character instead of a fucking like boring. Non-fucking even.
Thank you, Jeff. No one agrees with me when I say that. Thank you, fellas. I appreciate that.
Listen, I'm telling you right now. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole here, but Rogue as a character, if they do the X-Men right, if they do her justice, she could end up being legitimately the most. She could end up being the most popular female character out of the entire X-Men.
She's going to be a Disney princess.
She had an okay comic book run back in the day too, but it was short. But still, yeah, Yeah,
I never got the reason why they chose, or Fox chose, to make Rogue the way she was in the live action movies, where basically like she's deadly to the touch. It was almost like she had a disease.
Right.
Well,
And
that's how
it's
she is in
completely
the
different.
comics.
I think they were setting things up for Brie Larson. They knew ahead of time that we had
Right.
Brie Larson coming down the road. So they're like, you know what? We got to make sure that we have some fucking terrible, boring character that's useless. You know what I'm saying?
Jeff, when that happens, Jeff, you better have a show and invite me on it because I've been waiting for that forever, my friend. Oh my gosh. Let's go. Let's do it. I want to see this in my lifetime. Let's go.
Rogue is so awesome as a character that if they were to actually do Rogue with Captain Marvel and do her actual origin story with her getting her powers from Captain Marvel, that would actually boost Brie Larson and boost Captain Marvel and make her better.
It would. Because it gives you a reason to freaking watch it at that point.
So anyways, Cyber, back to the original premise as far as
Yes.
the trailers and how the trailers connected to the film. Where are you at with that?
Honestly, I mean, I honestly don't remember watching it back in 2012. I think I did see it. I believe I did see it on TV back in 2012. But rewatching them now, that second trailer was just so much better than that first trailer, I thought. But overall, they are so impactful and makes you want to watch the movie because that's just how enticing those scenes they chose make you feel. So, I mean, I think overall those trailers were really well done because it really did give you just enough of the certain scenes to really pull you in to make you want to watch that film. So I thought that was really well done, and I thought that they did a good job of giving us some decent trailers. I mean, even 10 years later now, those trailers still, hold up.
Yeah.
They definitely hold up. And, even the graphics still look pretty decent for 10 years old. So I think they're very powerful trailers. And I think probably some of the better trailers I've seen for Marvel in many years.
I think another thing too that's kind of interesting about all the Avengers films, mostly films have filler at some points. Not a lot, but some have fillers. I didn't really see that in any of the Avengers movies. They didn't really have fillers, and if you saw it was a very short amount of filler within those movies. It always kept you going, always kept you on a certain path, and I like that too.
Well, I think that the film industry learned a lot from Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, yep.
In that.
Facts.
So
with Chris Evans, right? Wasn't he in that?
Yes, he was. He was.
He was in
that.
He was
one of the boyfriends. Yeah, or the exes.
I hate him.
Gunnar, you're up. Gunnar, you're up, brother, on the trailers.
Oh, I mean, trailers are amazing. I mean, honestly, I can't think of a bad Marvel trailer. My only thing about the Avengers trailer, it is phenomenal, but I think to this day, Age of Ultron might be the best trailer Marvel's ever made. I mean, with that whole got no strings at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
And I know we're not talking about that movie, but I'm using that movie as an example to say they know how to get us to hook us in 2.5 minutes to want to see that movie. Because honestly, there's times, and I've done this more than once, where I've hopped on my Apple TV or on Disney Plus, and I've went through the entire Marvel catalog just watching the trailers. It's been 2 hours just watching.
Yeah, just watching trailers.
I can do that all day long.
Hashtag bring back Ultron.
Yeah. Man, but that trailer is phenomenal. But Age of Ultron is a million times better. I think that might be one of the greatest trailers of all time.
Hashtag bring back Ultron. Just saying.
Okay.
I gotta be one of the sickest dudes in the world, but I actually like the character of Ultron. It could just be me, but I actually like the character of Ultron. I thought Ultron was cool.
Well, you see a lot of iterations of him in the comics.
Yeah.
Over the years.
Cartoons too.
Yeah, it's not unheard of for them to bring stuff back.
I mean, we've seen a couple iterations of him already. What was that? Ultron Extreme? What they call him from What If?
Right.
Yeah, we saw him in that too. Yep.
Yeah, that was
Good
great.
call.
I want more of that character. Bring me that character.
That'd be awesome. Bring back a live Ultron. Hey, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, that was definitely a highlight for What If. That really kind of for me anyways, at least as a fan, it really actually reinvigorated the series towards the end for me. You know, it really gave it a kick.
And can I say one thing about Chris Evans? How the hell does he keep getting these damn good roles? Scott Pilgrim, you the Human Torch. Then you go to Captain America. What?
Now he's Buzz Lightyear.
Wait a minute,
Bruh.
Cyber. What was that action film that Chris Evans was in before he did any of the Marvel stuff? After Fantastic Four, he did that one action film.
Snowpiercer?
No, the one where he had like
Push.
Push.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Push is a really, really solid movie. Really solid movie. It really was.
Yeah.
Can we get a Human Torch Captain America crossover? Just saying.
There you go.
Let's make
Like,
that work.
I'm sorry, but I think Push was better than the Fantastic Four films. I do.
Well, that's not a high bar.
I've never seen Push, but yeah.
There
Sorry.
you go. Yeah. No,
Hey.
I agree.
Yeah,
No.
the Fantastic Four movies weren't a high bar. I mean, but it's difficult. It's difficult to make the Fantastic Four into good cinema. So you know what we've had. This is the third Fantastic Four movie that they've tried until the new one that's about to come out. So before the MCU, there was three
There were three of
iterations,
them. Mhm.
right? And none of them were good. I mean, it's so hard to personify Ben Grimm. I mean, how do you do that? And you know,
Michael Chiklis actually did a great job as Ben Grimm.
yeah,
I think because he was an actual person in a suit made him better, I think.
And what about Chloe Zhao's last directing job?
Dang.
I mean, there you go, right there. You know, what else did he say? I mean,
And that's a good point, Justin, because I know Jessica Alba has some issues with the director on some of those movies too. And yeah, they just weren't good movies.
Well, I think the first one they made because they didn't want to lose the rights to the material or to the source material. So that one was horrible.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm really hopeful to see, because Reed Richards is such a guiding force in Marvel.
Agreed.
He needs to be in the MCU. He needs to have a very substantial role because everyone always turns to him.
hey, I watched my 12-year-old son when I went to see Doctor Strange 2 the other day for the second time, right? Who does not even really, I mean, he reads comics, but he doesn't really know Reed Richards as a character. He doesn't really know that much about the Fantastic Four. I saw his face when the Illuminati came out and whatnot and everything, and he was like stunned, okay? Like he was stunned and like ecstatic seeing Reed Richards and everything and whatnot and all that shit. Even not even knowing really who he is. It was impactful to him.
He's
great
very
casting.
And Reed's character, as you said before, is very important to the MCU. Very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it will be going forward, especially with the Secret Invasion stuff.
That shit was just like the Avengers for me. The Avengers made me like a fanboy again, like you talked about, Justin. Seeing Reed Richards during Doctor Strange 2 brought me back to being a fanboy again and shit. I was in the movie theater like, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, yo, are you kidding me? Are you joking right now? Like, seriously, dude? Like, screaming and shit. When I saw him come out. I was like, you're joking,
It was
right?
it was like when Jeff saw Batman for the first time.
I did not believe it. I did not believe for a second they were not legitimately going to give us a legit, like a serious, legit, what do you call it?
Cameo?
No, the Illuminati. The Illuminati.
Illuminati.
I did not think that they were going to give us anything even close to a real Illuminati. I ain't
gonna say in front. I didn't think Patrick Stewart was ever coming back as Professor X.
No,
I didn't see that.
Nope.
I'm glad he did though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nope. And hey, all I can say is that I feel like as far as Doctor Strange 2 goes, it was not it was not what I think all the fans expected it to be, or as good as they thought it was going to be. But Elizabeth Olsen and how she played Scarlet Witch in that film was excellent.
Yeah,
excellent.
she was. Yeah,
I mean, now that we're talking about that, but the only real complaint I have is that the multiverse wasn't very mad in that movie.
No, it wasn't.
The title was misleading.
no.
The movie was
Like,
great. I thought.
Angry? Were you looking for an angrier multiverse, or?
Well, there was a multiverse. There was a 3-minute multiversal scene, and then they spent time in one other universe, and then a small bit where Doctor Strange was in another universe. That's it. I mean, all that stuff happened in the same universe. The whole everything with the Illuminati, everything with the second Wanda and her kids, all that's in the same universe. So, I mean, we didn't go multiverse to multiverse to multiverse, except for that one great scene.
No, oh, I'm sorry, William. I was really hoping for a Total Recall 3-titty scene, like a different dimension where chicks have 3 titties. I was really hoping for one. I really was.
And I really
they didn't bring us back to Josh Trank's face.
And I really don't think Scarlet toward the end of the movie, I really don't think Scarlet Witch is dead.
Of course she's not. What, are you kidding
me?
She evaporated out of there right at the end. That explosion we saw, that was her transporting out of there.
Look, if that shit fell on me, I'd be okay.
Well, we still need Scarlet Witch for a lot. Oh, I know, I got it. It was a little late. I was a little late to that party.
Oh my goodness!
I got there.
Oh my goodness!
I've been through shit like that before anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still here. So you know what I'm saying? I mean, shit. But
hands down, Josh Trank's Fantastic Four was the worst of the 3 Fantastic.
Oh hell yeah!
There wasn't an action scene till 20 minutes left in the movie. An hour and a half of not one action scene.
Yep.
How did that thing?
What? They should have brought Chloe Zhao in there.
How did that thing get greenlit? I'm still trying to figure that one out.
They bought the name.
Figure that out.
That's all it was they bought the name.
If they could do that, we could come up with a movie.
I mean, the 1994
My gosh, man.
version, the 1994 version was better than the Josh Trank's
Mm-hmm.
version with that really hokey outfit that the guy that played the Thing was wearing. I mean,
that poor bastard.
Yeah,
he doesn't have a career after that.
I'm telling you right now, if they would let me like plan and direct a Marvel movie or like whatever or some shit, like a Bleeding Edge style one, I'm telling you right now, man, that bitch would be freaking like game changer. You want to talk about impactful? It would be really rated X. Like they would have to create a new rating for it. You know?
Give Jeff the all-female Avengers and
beyond rated R. It would be beyond rated R.
Give Jeff the all-female Avengers and let him go crazy.
Yeah, man, that's right. I'm telling you right now.
He can go all crazy with it.
Yep, it would be. I mean, there would be like actual porn during it, like right during the movie. You know, like there would be action scenes that would devolve into porn.
Oh my gosh!
It would be interesting. I'm telling you.
He wants to add the film Pirates 2.
Yep.
Salazar's Revenge to it. You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right now, there's a bunch of A-Force women fans crying.
Oh, and on top of that, I would also, as a spoof, to make fun of these freaking SJW writers at Marvel Comics that like to make these stupid like trans characters and shit and everything and all that, I would actually make a spoof film making fun of them, where I would actually have a movie with these stupid ass characters that they come up with, like the stupid New Mutants that they came up with or whatever, that were all like, I'm not even sure what the hell was going on with them.
Well, that's good. I liked the New Mutants because that's a lot of their life, was being hidden.
And a few of them were actually cool.
Why did they have to be trans? Why did they have to be non-binary?
I don't have the answer to that question.
Me either. But a few of them are actually cool.
Yeah.
In terms of power set, yeah.
Well, you know what? I don't care. If you're telling me that you're non-binary, I don't think you're cool because it's not even fucking real. You know what I'm saying? So at that point, that's non-binary is about as tangible as people who say they're a tree person. The people who believe they're a tree. Tree people.
The comments made by Jeff S do not support the rest of the characters.
Yeah.
On this show.
Hey, guess what, guys? Guess what? Check this out. I was fucking around today, right, with Sally. We were looking around on YouTube. There are actually people on YouTube that make spoof troll videos about the Bleeding Edge, about us, and they make fun of us, and me and Cyber, and they spotlight us during the show and everything, and like make fun of our mistakes and shit. Have you seen that stuff, Cyber?
No.
It's out there. Did you know that we actually have
No.
We have troll fans that make videos of us.
Nice.
Anytime when you're on YouTube, when
Until
you're
you
on
have a
Twitch,
troll, until you
I
troll, you haven't
completely
made it anywhere.
support spoofing this show.
I find that complimentary. I think that's a
when
clear
you-
indication of what level we've reached.
when you get trolls, you know you've made it.
That's right. I was very proud of it. I was.
And I got plenty.
You gotta send me the link to that.
It's funny. It was very funny. I mean, it was
I got plenty
Like, it
of
wasn't even funny. Like what they were trying to make fun of us for. They were trying to make you out to be a racist, like because of something you said in one of the like a Boba Fett review or whatever. Some word you said. They were making fun of you, like you're a racist. It was stupid as hell. Whatever.
I'm just disappointed no one spoofed me. I'm not crazy enough. Oh.
Gunnar.
Next show we're going off.
I'll tell you what, Gunnar. If you want to have some fun and you want to change it up and whatnot and do some role playing, I'll try to be more like you next show and you be more like me, and we'll see what happens. All right? I want to see you do your version of me.
Hey guys, real quick, I want to say thank you, Jeff. Everybody for having me back on. I do appreciate it, guys. It's great to be here. Great talking to y'all. I'm out of here. You guys have a great Sunday. Oh, and to all the dads out there.
Yep.
Next Sunday is Father's Day, so happy Father's Day.
There you go. Thanks.
I'm out, guys. Y'all have a good week.
You too,
We love you,
William.
William.
Later, guys.
Later, William.
William is a good goddamn guy, man. I'll tell you right now. Good
Him
goddamn
and Sally
guy.
are meeting up for pancakes right now. What's going on?
Yep. I can tell you right now. Sally, if Sally, Sally is my friend. She's a good kid. She is. And she can learn a lot from William because William is about as stand-up a guy when it comes to content and shows and shit as you can possibly be. If you need somebody, if you need a guest at the last minute or whatever to fill in for someone for a show, and you contact William, he will go out of his way to help you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's who he is. You know, so he's a good-ass guy, man. I'm telling you right now, since I've known him, there's never been one time that he's not gone out of his way to try to come on this show and whatnot and try to help us out and do whatever he could. You know, so I just want to put it out there. William is a good-ass goddamn dude. He is. And what they do over there in the Geek Gauntlet and whatnot, they do a good job. They put some good shows together. They do. Their team has come together very well, and they have some good shows, and I enjoy watching them, and I support them. And they are, of course, featured creators at the Minds Creativity Network, just like us. And I am getting close to, we're getting soon to an official launch of the Minds Creativity Network. And when we get there, it is going to be some serious shit, folks. I just want to be clear. Watch out. All right? All you networks out there, you better watch out for your creators, all right? Because, hey, they might be leaving you and coming to us. So watch out. But either way, as far as moving on to our article/MCU news part of the show, I want to start off with this freaking whole deal with Punisher in the comic books and them changing his logo. Because I'll be honest with you, I think that...
Yeah, it was a big deal. Everyone hated it.
Honestly, I want to give hats off to Justin. Justin is the one who pointed this out to me today. And Cyber and I have been talking about the fact that I need to be making more of an effort to try to include what's going on with the comics in the shows. So I felt like it would be a really good idea for us to talk about this and whatnot and put it out there. Because this is something that is going on right now in present day in Marvel Comics and whatnot. And honestly, the Punisher is an emblematic character that's been popular for a very long time. And that Punisher logo is historic. It's classic.
Yeah.
You know, it is. It's on so many T-shirts and hats and everything. It's the Punisher.
Yeah.
You know? And so, essentially, in terms of the article that I picked up from CBR, the Punisher is returning to an all-new 13-issue series with big changes. One change in particular is causing a huge wave. The Punisher's iconic yet controversial skull logo is no more. Gone are the elongated teeth and oversized skull that have been featured with the character since his debut in February '74. Instead, the new look has a decidedly demonic look to it. The new series, titled simply Punisher, will be written by Jason Aaron with art by Jesus Saez and Paul Azeka. The first issue of the new series lands in March 2022, with the series concluding April 2023. From the announcement, Saez will be drawing the current day story art, with Azeka drawing the flashbacks. Aaron said this about the new series: the story is destined to take the next step in the dark and tragic evolution of Frank Castle, from a troubled kid to heroic soldier to a revenge-driven vigilante. Moving on to the actual premise of this whole article and why we care about this, the Punisher says goodbye to his iconic skull on new cover art. Within the story, Frank Castle has become a warlord of the Hand, a clan of Japanese assassins. In this role, he now serves the Beast of the Hand, a demon that has been worshipped by the Snake Root clan of ninjas. Centuries ago, empowered by the Beast's dark magic, the Snake Root ninja clan took over leadership of the Hand. Marvel emphasized the Punisher's relationship with the Beast, saying he now serves the Beast, a role he's been fated to fulfill. The story announcement from Marvel hints at major changes. Tragedy, war, and rage come together as he takes up his sword and his new armor with the most notorious clan of assassins in the Marvel Universe. Will it mean an end for the Punisher, or a whole new bloody beginning? The cover reveal for the first issue shows the Punisher with his back turned, discarding his classic skull logo armor. In the real world, the Punisher logo has been adopted by various ideological and political groups. The Punisher skull is popular with certain segments of the pro-law enforcement movement, more noticeably in recent years, as that group has positioned itself in opposition to the Black Lives Matter movement. The use of the Punisher skull by pro-police groups has been criticized as misaligned, as the Punisher ignores the law, brutally enforcing his own justice on those he deems guilty. The co-opting of the Punisher logo is controversial and is now seen by some as equated with police brutality. What a fucking joke that is. Clothing, decals, and other goods have popped up, amalgamating the logo with thin blue line artwork. Gary Conway, co-creator of the Punisher, criticized this. Any cop who wears the Punisher logo in his official capacity is identifying law enforcement with an outlaw. These cops are a disgrace to serious police officers everywhere. They showed an imbecilic level of irresponsibility and should be fired immediately. Well, guess what? If you support the Black Lives Matter movement, you are a goddamn delusional joke to begin with. So just to make it clear, hey, I don't know anything about these cop groups using the Punisher logo as any kind of trademark or sign or whatever. But going to everybody here on the panel, just from a comic book standpoint, from a character standpoint, with the Punisher, and then from a standpoint of what's going to happen when we get the Punisher in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, hopefully soon, right? How do you feel, Cyber? Like, what are you going to think if we get the Punisher, right? And they bring him back, they bring him in from the Netflix series, and they do not give him his normal logo, and they give him this new demon logo.
I mean, as a fan, I'm not gonna like that, because that iconic look or that iconic symbol is what has been the Punisher for the last almost 50 years. Mm-hmm. And so having him have a new logo just because some people are saying, oh, that's related to this or related to that, that's other people's business. That shouldn't have anything to do with this character. No. The character should stay how it is. And so I feel that, that wouldn't be good on Marvel's part to change out that iconic symbol that has been associated with Punisher for so many years and has made him super popular. And they've sold so much merchandise over the years with that symbol. So, I mean, I don't think this new symbol that the new comics are trying to go with is going to be very popular. And I can foresee it them changing it back to the original symbol within the next issues or so. So I think it would be smart for Marvel to stick with the original logo.
Cyber, the comic book part aside, just from a standpoint, again, if they do bring back, they're going to give us the Punisher in the Marvel Cinematic Universe eventually. We know they're going to. And let's hope that it's going to be, what's his name? John Bernthal. I hope that they're going to bring, and I'm assuming they're going to bring him back. That would be the common sense move, I would think. He's a great Frank Castle. He really is. Very authentic. Even looks like Frank Castle. But, Cyber, do you really feel like this is a kind of thing where this is a serious thing with as far as comic book accuracy, where this is a real problem?
I do. I think that, like I was saying, this is such an iconic symbol to this iconic character. It would not be in anybody's best interest to change that or alter that, you know, and to keep to the original look, because especially if you're a huge fan and you've been a fan of it, you know, since its, you know, conception back in '74, you know, why would you want to see a newer symbol for it? I mean, I know some people don't mind some like updating and stuff like that, but when you completely alter it to be nothing like what the original is, I don't foresee that still being the Punisher. And so I think that, you know, in the long run, like I was saying, I think they should not change it. And I think that, you know, in the Marvel universe, you know, what, handing aside the comic books, Marvel should stick with the original logo and stay with it, because as you can see, the Netflix series was a huge success and they kept the original symbol. So I think that's what Marvel should do.
Yeah, and this is not an improvement at all. This does not help anything. Justin, what are your thoughts?
So Marvel felt like they needed to do something to quell whatever feelings these fans were having, or whoever mentioned this.
Why is this? I'm sorry, but just real quick. Why are these freaking people at Marvel Comics inserting themselves into sides of a political argument?
I don't understand, and not a whole lot of us get it to begin with. So I've talked to a lot of fans and some diehard Punisher fans. One of my buddies has been collecting exclusively Punisher for, 20 years. And he was so sad about this, but I mean, that's everyone. This new symbol is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It looks dumb. Have you guys seen it?
It's stupid. Hold on. I'll pull it up. I'll get it.
It just, I don't know. The Punisher's symbol became iconic when Frank Castle, does what he does, became the Punisher. And how long has he been doing this? The comics started in the 60s, right?
74.
74. Okay. I was never a real big Punisher fan, but this is ridiculous, and I really hope it doesn't carry over to the MCU. I hope, because it is a political thing and not a artistic expression. If they were changing the logo because of some other reason, or no, I just can't see them changing the logo, period. Why they did it and why they've locked themselves into a year of this symbol is ridiculous. It reminds me of the whole.
That's it.
Yeah, there he goes. That's just tragic.
That is stupid.
Yeah. It reminds me of the whole Captain America being an agent of Hydra.
That was my point I was going to make.
Yeah, it's just dumb. It's a dumb decision that Marvel made for some stupid reason, and hopefully they don't perpetuate this. You know,
like do you want to ruin a character for the fans just because you've got a political point you want to make?
Oh, I think they ruined the character for fans for years by the writers and artists they picked. But
I just want to put it out there right now, folks. We don't get into politics here on the Bleeding Edge. We don't. We don't do that game. That's not our deal. We're here to entertain people and cover Marvel and the MCU and the fandom, you know, DC stuff and whatnot, and try to do a good job and whatnot and entertain people. And hopefully you enjoy what we do. But in this one situation, I feel like it is necessary to at least just point out and just at least, you know, talk in some small way about the fact that there has been, unfortunately, a swing with Marvel Comics where they've been going in a direction for a long time now. And I was hoping very much that Kevin Feige was going to quell it when he became in charge of Marvel Comics, that he was going to just cut this off. This push of left-wing ideology being a massive driver behind the story writing, the character, you know, writing and everything behind the Marvel comic book genre and brand, and the people writing it and you know, doing the comics. And at that point, it's almost, there's no way to not talk about the political angle of this. But Gunnar, please get in here. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I was just going to bring up that same point that, look, at one point, Steve Rogers worked for Hydra. And at the end of the day, Steve Rogers doesn't really work for Hydra. So they could change it for a little while, especially if this is all seriously political. Guess what? It'll die down. The old logo come back. Don't get me wrong, but I believe it was the Dolph Lundgren movie. He didn't have the iconic logo. One of the 3 Punisher movies, he did not have the iconic logo on his shirt.
I think you're right. I think in the Dolph Lundgren movie, he never does actually have the skull logo.
I mean, what's next? Sewing up Deadpool's mouth and not putting him in the red mask? I mean, that would be dumb too.
But it doesn't matter. The Dolph Lundgren Punisher movie was still dope as shit.
So yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it's not permanent. You know, come to me in 5 years if we don't still have the old logo back, and maybe I'll change my mind. I just don't buy that this is the future of the character. Maybe the immediate future, but like I said, 5 years, we'll forget that this even happened.
Right. Like the change in Wonder Woman's costume for the New 52 stuff.
Or it sounds like this storyline is crazy where he's serving some weird god. That's not Punisher.
It never occurred to me. It never occurred to me, gentlemen. It never occurred to me at all, ever, that whatever was going on with Marvel Comics would ever creep in or become an influence at all with what goes on with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It never occurred to me that would ever happen.
But you know what? Like they do their ways of homaging it, like in Endgame where Steve Rogers on the elevator and he goes to Rumlow, Hell Hydra. I mean, that's their way of acknowledging, see, we did in our movies too.
But they've been standardly sticking with like the 90s 616 Marvel comic book universe as a template. Like that's what they've been working off of.
I mean, eventually this train is gonna die down, and they're gonna have to do something to shake it up. I don't think it's gonna be, and that's the MCU I'm talking about. I don't think it's gonna be anytime soon. I mean,
that's where you bring back the female nudity.
Well, maybe.
Yep.
Maybe. It's in what was your name? Gyno Man? Is that when Gyno Man gets?
My alter ego, Gyno Man.
Yeah.
There I am. When I'm in my professional outfit and my garb, my uniform. I'm sorry, Justin, you don't know about my former life as a world-renowned gynecologist. Yep. I unfortunately was so talented at it that I had to step back from my career because I was detrimental to society. You know, because I was so good at my job. I was damaging marriages and causing multiple orgasms for women and shit. It was too much. So, you know, at that point, I had to step back and sacrifice, you know, my career and become a content creator.
Right. I think you made the smart choice.
That's right.
For all of us, we all
And all mankind.
Right? Yeah, all mankind is
Yeah. As I mean, and I took it very seriously. I took a vow of abstinence. You know.
That was a rough weekend, huh?
I'll tell you what. If I ever saw Brie Larson naked with that 7-year-old boy ass, I probably would give up on sex completely right there.
Man, poor Brie Larson.
Can you imagine having to be the person that's got to tell Brie Larson that they're going to send the butt double in for her for a scene? Like, how do you make that positive?
Did they do that for real?
Oh, yeah. Like, hey, Brie, just so you know, your ass looks so great that we're actually going to have you come out of this next scene so we can put your butt double in.
Man, I didn't know they still use those in Hollywood.
Hey, it's rough, man.
Why do you think William had to go?
Yeah. I mean, when you're talking about a Disney production to begin with, and your ass is too flat for a Disney production,
yeah,
that's rough, man. Hey,
man,
it is what it is. You know, I just hope that butt double was paid, you know, fairly, for her really good work, or the guy that they used or whatever. You know, since I've got a bigger ass than Brie does. So, beyond the Punisher, since I think we basically kind of talked this one out, moving on to Luke Cage potentially coming back to the MCU, and the Defenders potentially coming back to the MCU, and the impact of the Netflix series, the Netflix Defenders possibly becoming a part of the MCU again. We have an article here from the direct.com that essentially just boils down to the fact that Mike Coulter was asked whether a Luke Cage reboot would come to fruition, confirming that there is a real possibility, but adding that he didn't have anything tangible to offer at the moment. There is a possibility, I guess, Coulter says. I just don't know how likely it is, and I don't have anything tangible to offer. People always ask me, is it possible? And I'm like, anything's possible. They live on rumors, and I go, I mean, you know, as much as I know, people read those articles, that's the exact same amount of information that I have. When asked if he would be open to returning as the character, Coulter confirmed he'd be open to it, now that he's taken a break from the role. Sure, I'd be open to it. Yeah, I mean, I had a great time. I've had a nice break from that much action in terms of physical action, in terms of filming a superhero show, so I'd be up for it again. But when I left, I was pretty tired physically. It's like, you know, when you play a sport, you need a little off season. So it's fun to take a break, you know? So basically, guys, my question is, we've all heard the rumors about, we all know Daredevil's coming back. He is back. He's a part of the MCU, Charlie Cox. We're going to get him in She-Hulk. We may even get him as Daredevil in She-Hulk. I've heard rumors that we might even get him suited up. We'll see. And, of course...
There's no way he's not going to be an Echo. No way he's not.
Yeah, he's going to be an Echo. Yep, going to be an Echo. In fact, I think that's already been confirmed, Cyber, hasn't it?
Yes.
There you go. Yeah, so... No, and it has not been confirmed officially yet, but all signals point that they're going to do a Daredevil Disney Plus series. They are. They're not going to do anything on Hulu. They're not going to do it. They're not going to change anything up. They're going to stick to Disney Plus, and that's where they're going to go with it. How it's going to work out, we'll see. But in terms of these Netflix characters and the Defenders coming back and being a part of the MCU, what are your overall thoughts, guys? Starting with you, Gunnar, on the idea or the premise of bringing back the whole squad, the whole Defenders.
I am 100% in for it. Even Iron Fist. I want to see what Kevin Feige can do to save Iron Fist, because I actually liked. I mean, I granted I never read the comic. I love. Was it Christine Henwick? Is that her name? She was amazing in Iron Fist. So give me more of her, and if I have to sit through Iron Fist to get more of her, I'm completely happy. She was a great character. But the key to it is they've got to do a way, I think, where you don't have to watch the Netflix stuff, but it doesn't lose the Netflix stuff. Because, I mean, there's a couple issues with it. I mean, Mahershala Ali, wasn't he in the first season of Luke Cage?
Well, wait a minute. Now that they have the Netflix stuff on Disney Plus and they've got it, all that, they have the rights to it and everything and whatnot, what would be wrong with being able to have it connect?
Again, just little things like Blade being in it, Mahershala Ali playing Cottonmouth, and Alfred Woodard. Wasn't Alfred Woodard who was also in Civil War? She was in Luke Cage as well. So, I mean, just little things like that, which that's why I say if you make it so you don't have to watch those series to understand it, where you can just pop in and say, okay, these are MCU. I get, I can watch it and catch up pretty quickly. And granted, if you want to go back to watch it, it's on Disney Plus now.
But are they still canon?
I mean, those shows aren't, I don't really know how canon those shows are, because I mean they made themselves MCU adjacent by referencing the MCU, but the MCU up until Hawkeye did nothing to reference them, which I'm fine making it so street level that it doesn't interfere with the rest of the world around them. And maybe that's what they're going to do. I just want to see them. I love all 4 of those shows. I really enjoyed them. 5 shows if you count the Defenders. And I thought Luke Cage might have been the best out of all of them. So
Justin?
So these characters are minor characters in the or were minor characters in the comic books for years. I mean, you had your diehard fans that read them, but as far as like the mass majority of us, who cared about Iron Fist or Shang-Chi for that matter? But if they are going to bring him in, they're going to have to do it right. They're going to have to do the bigger characters going after the smaller characters like Luke Cage. Bring him in like they brought him into the Avengers to begin with. I like that. I like that idea to where the guys on the street actually become a part of a bigger team, a part of something bigger than themselves.
They just need one link, I think, to link the greater MCU to them. So maybe Spider-Man would have been great link, but now he's kind of out of the MCU. So
right.
they just need a crossover, and maybe She-Hulk is it. Maybe She-Hulk is the crossover that they need. Just to bring Daredevil into it.
Gunnar, I'm with you on that. Let me get Cyber in here really quick, and then my next question goes right into that. Cyber, what are your thoughts? How do you feel about the overall impact of the Defenders coming back?
Since I haven't watched all the seasons or all the characters yet, I'm happy for them to come back. That'll be great. I hope they come back and they give us more of these characters so we can get more, info and more characterizations of these characters so that they can, intercede into the MCU. And just like, you were saying that the She-Hulk show might be that connection. That'll be great. But overall, what I've watched of Daredevil, which is the first season, of course, and I started the second season, that show is amazing. And the seasons I've seen of Jessica Jones were amazing. And what I watched of Luke Cage is amazing. I haven't watched any of the Defenders. I haven't watched any of the Iron Fist, unfortunately. But everything that I've seen from, the trailers and so forth like that, they all are just very interesting characters that would be great to see in the MCU. So I'm very gung-ho for them to bring them into the fold and make them a part of the MCU.
I'm right there with Cyber. Him and I are lockstep as far as what we've watched with the Netflix series. We're literally at the same place even with Daredevil, I think. And I'm at a point where I feel so embarrassed at this point that I have not watched all these shows that I'm just going to straight up tape myself to a chair and put myself in front of the TV and just watch that shit soon and get it done. But I honestly feel like what I've seen of the Daredevil series so far is better than anything I've seen in any Disney Plus series so far. I haven't seen anything with any of the Disney Plus shows at all that have come close to the level of how good Daredevil season 1 is. I'm sorry, I just have not.
Well, there was a great cast for Daredevil as well.
Yeah, and
You
don't
know-
get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Part of that, let me just make it clear. Part of that has to do with the fact that I do think the Loki Disney Plus series was excellent. Well cast, great show, great series, from start to finish, but totally different kind of show, different genre, different premise, and everything, right? So my next question links right into what Gunnar was talking about. Does anybody here think, you guys feel it's possible that these Defenders, these Netflix series characters, these Defenders characters, although maybe, as Justin already pointed out, being small characters or secondary characters or less popular characters, do you think it's possible that they could bring back some of that interconnectivity to the Marvel Cinematic Universe and that street level interconnectivity that's missing right now and that so many of the fans are pointing out that we don't have at all? And I'll go right to you then at that point, Gunnar.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that that's something that we are missing. I think that's something that Spider-Man did a great job of being very pre-MCU. Spider-Man did a great job of kind of being street level. I mean, he never left New York. He never had to leave. There's so much crazy people in New York. So I think Spider-Man would have been another great way to merge these street level and major level characters. But then again, maybe you don't need that. Maybe you can just get away with these characters doing their own thing. And then, you know, when they need a bigger threat, then they can reach out to the bigger. I don't know.
Well, that's how they are.
Yeah.
In the comic books, that's how they're written.
Yeah.
You know, Jessica Jones is always telling Luke Cage, why do we have to go, you know, help these guys out when this is their job? This is not our job. You know, our job is running a bar.
Yeah.
You know, that's, I agree with you.
So, does anybody, or Cyber, what do you think? Do you feel like we could use more earthbound, like more like city-bound, you know, type characters and type series and shows in the MCU right now, and maybe we've gone away from that?
I guess I never had a problem with the direction they've taken several of the characters in and where they're located. I mean, I know a lot of people wanted more space, and that's when we started getting Guardians of the Galaxy. That's when we started, you know, exploring more of that area. We got Doctor Strange. That was the more the magical realm. You know, the Eternals, more space, and all that kind of good stuff. I mean, I think they've had a great variety of all of it. I mean, Spider-Man, I think, was a really good, you know, neighborhood Spider-Man. He was mostly on the ground. He was down there in the city. You know, he was a very city character. And I think that, you know, bringing these characters in will just, you know, add to that already extra layer that's already there. I don't think it's lacking. I don't think that it's needed. But at the same time, I think that it just would be a good addition to, you know, bring them into the MCU and just give us more characters to, you know, just have and to see and have interact with each other in the MCU.
Did you guys watch the Inhumans?
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
I didn't
Okay.
hate it like everyone else.
But they're small time characters,
Mhm.
and we're going to see Black Bolt again. I mean, we have to see Black Bolt again. So
That dog was cool.
And there's questions that
Often-
Cyber and I have already talked about as far as how things are going to play out in the Miss Marvel series. Where they're going to go, as far as if they're going to include any of the Inhuman stuff.
well, they have to.
Well, do they though? Do they have to?
Well, they're going to keep her an Inhuman. I mean, but that doesn't look like. It looks like her powers are cosmic and not from the.
With the bands and all that
They're
and everything.
yes.
If not with these bands, they're going to have her with and whatnot and everything. Maybe she doesn't even have to be an Inhuman.
Yeah, but we're going to see Nova.
Yep.
I mean, we're going to see these characters that touch the Inhumans all the time. How can they get around it?
More
I
Captain
definitely
Marvel.
think-
Oh,
I definitely think we'll be seeing Black Bolt again soon. I think the Inhumans will make their presence soon, especially because of the Eternals coming into the play in the MCU. I definitely feel the Inhumans will be doing that same aspect. Who knows how long till then? But definitely, I feel we will be seeing them very shortly.
Well, the same thing with Adam Warlock. Adam Warlock does a lot with the Inhumans as well. I think they gave up on the material too quickly.
I don't even know where the hell they're even going to do with that Adam Warlock at this point, and what his story's going to be, or what the hell's going to go on.
It's going to be crazy. Them moving on.
Where does he even fit? Where does he even fit into the structure of the MCU at this point? Now that he's was not even a part of the Infinity Gauntlet deal and everything.
Well, did Kang ever do anything with the Infinity Stones?
No,
I can't remember.
No, Kang never did anything with the Infinity Stones. That was never Kang's deal. Kang does time travel. Kang does going to different dimensions and conquering them.
Right. Man, I don't know. That where Adam Warlock fits into the MCU now is crazy. And when are they going to bring in Silver Surfer? That's one of my
no idea. Once the Fantastic Four are back, which I believe we will see them in Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. I think they're going to be trapped in the quantum realm, probably in Chronopolis, and Scott Lang is going to save them, and that's how they're going to come back. Because we already know that they were in the MCU because Doctor Strange made that joke. Didn't you guys chart in the 60s?
I think Ant-Man Quantumania is going to end up being a pivotal film.
Oh, absolutely.
Pivotal. Yeah. Like it's gonna end up being a big time, impactful, game changer kind of movie and whatnot and everything, and it's gonna be fun to see.
It's gonna be what we thought Doctor Strange was gonna be.
Well, it's gonna be an interesting kind of dichotomy because you're gonna have two Ant-Man films that were more of like comedies and like whatnot. Then you're gonna have this third film that's gonna be like extremely impactful to the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Still comedy though. I still think we're gonna see those. I think we're gonna see that Peyton Reed vision of Fantastic Four where they were like the Beatles, like A Hard Day's Night, where they're running around being chased in the 60s. Who
do they add to that third Ant-Man film, right? How does Ant-Man and the Wasp take on Kang in a fight?
With the help of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
He's going to end up in Chronopolis, and I think Loki's going to have something to do with it too because they pushed the second season of Loki to appear near Ant-Man and the Wasp. So I think that's the reason they ended Loki where they did, and I think that it has to tie in.
And
also another interesting thing is which Kang are we going to get in Quantumanium 2 as well, because there's so many different variants of him. So it'll be interesting to see which one they decide to go with. That will really determine where they're going to probably taking his vision of Kang into the future too, as well.
Yes, most definitely. And on top of that, we're possibly going to get the real actual start of the Young Avengers when they're going to introduce Stature in the film.
No, she's going to be in. They casted a new actress as her.
Yeah, there you go. They're going to do Stature in that film, so I think that will be the actual start of the Young Avengers right there. Which I'm not looking forward to. I'm not exactly pumped for the Young Avengers. Now that my application to be the assistant coach for the female Young Avengers has already been rejected, unfortunately, by Marvel. I was, hoping to be a part of that, but unfortunately, they rejected me. So it's too bad. I could have been very helpful to the development of Kate Bishop and and all these characters. But at the same time, anyways, guys, 2 hours and 4 minutes. It's Sunday. That was a great fucking show. I could do another 2 hours. But you know what? We've all got lives. We've all got things to do, except for me, since I don't do shit. And I don't have a life. So at that point, because I care about you guys' lives. I know you actually have important stuff going on. Out of respect for that, I will not continue on and just say, I don't think we need to do a ton of plugs or anything like that and whatnot tonight or any, long goodbyes. Why don't we just essentially just say peace out. Shout out to the fandom. We love you. And supporting women's sports There you go. Supporting women's sports every day on the Bleeding Edge. We'll see you next time.
DD Mega Doo-Doo. I'm sorry.
Said, excuse me, but you don't understand where I'm at. I was all around the world, on span, across the map. I've been laying low and now it's time to pop up, bitch, I'm back. Now I'm a